Qui, I want to start with you because I was reading that the theme of unity in this movie didn't emerge until later on. So it was making me wonder what was the crux of the story before that actually showed itself?
Well, I mean, the DNA of the movie was always about unity and coming together. It just there wasn't. I think for the longest time before we came on, it was trying to figure out what would it take for them to be able to do that, and what could it be. And we were when we came on, Don Carlos and myself, we were examining what it was that really makes people not want to work together, and it really was mistrust. And trying to write a movie that honors how hard it is to trust someone, especially if on the surface it seems like you shouldn't. And that was a journey that we wanted to make the story about, because it's a theme that felt very timeless. We had no idea that in the moment that we were making it, it would become so timely.
You were very, very successful in that department. A big part of the reason why I appreciate the movie so much. Carlos, I know the opportunity to work over at Disney kind of was an unexpected one for you, but what about the idea of filmmaking within the animated realm in general? Was that ever a path that you thought you were going to pursue?
I mean, to be honest, I grew up watching these movies. I've loved animation for as long as I've been around. But I just didn't really think it was a path that I would never imagine that my second movie would be a major Disney animated feature next to the legendary Dong Hall. I just didn't think that was possible. It was probably, yes, it was a dream of mine, and I thought that maybe when I was much more experienced, like my 10th feature, maybe I'll get a chance to direct at Disney and I'll know enough people that someone's gonna get me in there. But this happened in a really unexpected way. And it was one of those great surprises that life has to offer. Honestly, I'm so happy there. I'm glad I met Don. I'm glad I met Qui. And all the team at animation has just welcomed me so warmly. So it's been really, really great last 2 years.
Feels important to stress that you've made 3 features right now, because Summertime is also great. And I can't wait for that movie to finally come out.
This is true. Thank you very much for saying that. It comes out in the summer. It's going to have a release a little bit bigger than Raya's.
Oh, yeah, I would expect that. All right, Don, I've got a two-parter for you right now. So this is your 3rd animated feature serving as director, and for all of them, you've worked with another person under that credit. So first, what do you think it is about making an animated feature where having 2 creators at the helm benefits the film? And then also, can you highlight some of the similarities and differences between the relationships you had with Steve, Chris, and now Carlos?
It is a sort of a common thing, especially at Disney, that we have sort of the dual director system. It's not a mandate by any means. I think it's just a byproduct of so many different things in terms of we're intensely collaborative. And so if you look at like Miyazaki, he is a true auteur. He writes his stories, he storyboards his stories, and basically designs the characters and everything. And his films are amazing. And we're almost the exact opposite of that in terms of, yes, it still boils down to, director or directing team having a clear vision, but then, then we have a building full of the most amazing artists in the world, and keeping that, that collaborative feeling going throughout the entire process that's in our DNA. And so I think that's probably why you see more directing teams, at Disney, because it's just a byproduct of just the way we collaborate on these stories. It's interesting that you bring up Steve and Chris and now Carlos. I think I would say the similarities with Steve and Chris, I had worked with them for quite a while, and they became my good friends prior to us even directing. Carlos and I had only known each other for maybe 5 months, I think, before you came on, or we both came on this movie. So even though we hadn't had a long friendship, there was a friendship there, even though it was sort of a new friendship that was in place before we jumped on and directed together. And Qui and I were working on another project in development before we came on. So from day one, there was just an ease of collaboration amongst all of us, a fun, almost a mischievous fun, where we were kept, thinking, man, are we going to get away with some of this stuff? And we just kept pushing each other. And so, like I said, the similarities is just sort of a collaboration based on friendship first. And then, of course, that obviously grew over the course of making the movie.
I have to follow up on that, and all three of you can chime in. What is an example of something where you thought, like, I don't know, like, can we actually get away with making this happen in our movie, or you expected someone to stop you at some point?
I mean, it was a constant game of dare. I think as soon as we jumped on, because when they were like, hey, literally when Jen was like, Qui, Don, Carlos, you want to take a crack at this film? You want to do this? It began with us going into basically a small room together and going, hey, so what would we do? It's like, well, here's a crazy idea. And it kind of just became, three mischievous little boys just going, this would be stupid if we did this. It'd be dumber if you did that. All right, let's go pitch it. Let's see what happens. And lo and behold, they let us do it. So a lot of it just felt like, from the shooting style to the jokes that we were making, the kind of heroes we were creating, it felt like a nice, fun adventure to be taken with two of my buddies here.
Probably the fight scenes, right? I mean, specifically the fight scenes, knowing they're pretty intense, and not just for an animated film, even for a live action film, I think they would stand up to any live action film. So and never got 1 ounce of pushback. I think because they were integrated into the story and so well crafted and choreographed by Qui and Maggie and the animators. Never got 1 ounce of pushback, but that was always in the back of our head. Is this movie going to be too violent? But not one bit of pushback.
I got one because we were worried about the fight scenes. We were worried about some of the more darker thematic elements. A lot of people get turned to stone. But there was one thing that we were positive that was not going to make the filters, and those were the farting Beetles.
Right, I forgot.
That's true.
We put them in the movie. This was Qui. This was all Qui. And really, he tried to convince Don and I. Well, it came from your mind, which it's a good thing.
There were gophers, I think, when Qui.
Yeah, there were fart gophers when I started. Fart beetles.
Somehow the gophers turned into bugs.
He presented it to Don and I. We're like, look, that's hilarious. It's obviously never going to pass any filters. They're not going to let us, but sure, just keep it as a placeholder. And then we presented to Jen, our CCO, and she was like, all right, let's go for it. And then we presented to all the people across the street, just big corporate Disney. No one had one note. And all of a sudden, here you have these characters whose main contribution to the movie is that they
floating. Yeah.
They fart.
But colorfully.
Never thought I'd see such beautiful farting beetles in my life, but you guys have achieved that, so thank you.
We hope they inspire a movement of I don't know what it is, TikTok glitter farting.
Put that dare out there and it's gonna happen. Watch when the movie comes out.
Challenge accepted.
Thank you guys so much for your time. Huge congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.